So the Gold Essential Buddhist Prayers book, please turn to page 27, and we'll chant the 7-limb prayer. 27. Gosungu pegone chatselo nyesham yitu choti malubu tomene saditun tam cheshak kepagewanam lajeirang korwamatom barduleshune drola cheki kolo korwadang da shengenam janchu chempong no. Now go to page 97, the same book, and we'll chant the short mandala offering at the bottom of the page, 97. Sashi perki shushin metok tamri rabdishi nityen pari Sangye Shindu Mikte Uwa Hidro Kunam Dat Shin La Parshog Jetsun Lama Dampa Kyenam Kichurkukala Kyense Chujintrik Jita Tsampe Dujet Simam Laja Getcheki Chalpawab to so Idam Guru Ratamandalakam Niryatayami Chudam Soki Chonam La Janchu Bardu Dani Kapsuchi Dagi Chunyengi Pesunam Ki Dola Penchu Sankirtu Parsho Chudam Soki Chonam La Janchu Bardu Dani Kapsuchi Dagi Chunyengi Pesunam Ki Dola Penchu Sankirtu Parsho Chudam Soki Chonam La Janchu Bardu Dani Kapsuchi Dagi Chunyengi Pesunam Ki Dola Penchu Sankirtu Parsho
Good evening. So anybody wants some candy? Sugar-free. Sugar-free candy? Tendela, welcome back to Kadampa Center. Mm. Only 1 week. 1 week? Yeah. Tendela study, like quite intensively in Australia. So now benefiting people in Florida, one of the FMD center in Florida, and very good, so one of the best generosity practice. Tendula never give up, even though in Australia there's a lot of problems, Tendula is scared of snake, so there's a lot of snakes, so bear all the fears, and not just that, but some other difficulty too. So,
Geshe-la, could I ask a question from last time?
yeah, yeah. I know I may not remember the answer because it's past.
Well, I think I wrote something down wrong because there was a section where you said that we
That's even more dangerous.
where we make the 4 requests from the bottom of our heart. We're requesting to the merit field or to Shakyamuni Buddha.
Oh,
And I came up with 5, so I know I did it wrong. The first I had was, please bless me so that my mind may engage in spiritual practice. The second, please bless me that my practice will be successful. The third, please bless me not to generate even one moment of thoughts not related to the Dharma, such as anger or jealousy. The fourth was, please bless me to generate without a second's delay loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta. And the fifth was, bless me to be able to generate the wisdom realizing emptiness.
yeah, everything's perfectly correct.
Okay,
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
thank you.
There's no mistake. I think good to say or maybe say verbally or remember before you do prostrations, those things, So coming from Kadampa Master, I don't remember which one of them, but one of the Kadampa Masters. So that's what I'm trying to think while I'm standing there. Before I do prostration, try to think, go through those things. For all of us, not just for me, for all of us, standing there, just going through that. That's one of the Kadampa Master's advice. Kind of surprised. Nobody want candy? It's sugar free. Yeah, welcome to come here to pick one if you like one. So today, a very important topic. How meditation on emptiness has been done. By Lama Tsongkhapa, by Power Lama Atisha, so then all this, highly realized masters. So how they did meditation on emptiness. The same instructions been used again and again, in order to actualize wisdom, realize emptiness. Okay, so that's why it's quite important. So I'm going to explain. Last, I think Friday, I used another commentary. It's too, I say, elaborate. Too much information there. So then today I'm using the liberation palm of your hand, in the wisdom chapter. More simple. There's like not too short, not too long. I think enough information. So 4-point analysis. So, 4-point analysis. So the first one is like identify the object that needs to be negated. Object of negations. Object of negations. So then here the liberation palm of your hand. The Pobonga Rinpoche quoted in Shantideva's books, Guide to Buddhist Way of Life, probably in the wisdom chapter. Tabe ngui la mare ba thi ngui me jumai so. Basically the meaning of this word is like in order to understand emptiness, first we have to understand empty of what? Empty of what? So that's the object of negation, So that needs to understand. That's what Shantideva was saying. So in order to understand the empty, so first you have to understand empty of what? Empty of elephants. First you have to understand what is elephant. If you think, oh, the dog is elephant, so then there's no mistake. Shiasung bata kang gokju tangje meju da ngwe masena. If we don't understand or recognize object of negation, in this case is like exaggerated self. So first we have to understand the exaggerated self. First we have to understand that, exaggerated self. We have to understand that. Without having clear understanding of that, so then empty of that is not going to be possible. Go do da. Da literally means self. And here, not just self, here like this, like the self that needs to be negated in order to understand the emptiness. So that means self that's been exaggerated. Or the self, the experience of self that's not, dependent on body and mind, like totally independent, totally independent experience of independent self. That's the object of negation. So, for example, when we are about to fall off the cliff, so we don't think, okay, my body is about to fall. We don't say my mind is about to fall. You just say I'm about to fall. So that kind of moments, you do experience the self that's totally independent from body and mind. Take up a mega. Mega that word, mega. So if you say something like, oh, there's no elephant, but, then indirectly you are saying something. But directly you are saying, oh, there's no elephant, but there is some other animals, but. If you just say, oh, there's no elephant, there's no but, you don't say but, there's no elephant. So that's called mega. Oh, there's no elephant, but that's called mainga. So that's indicating something. You remember the word, the mega and mainga? It's in the probably collective topic. Collective topic, yeah. Yeah, all the, I, mm, yeah, affirming, you understand affirming? Non-affirming, yeah. Affirming, there's no elephant but, or non-affirming means, like there's no elephant. That's it, period. Emptiness like that. Emptiness like the first one. There's no elephant. Non-affirming. That's emptiness. Non-affirming. It's not. It's not.
It's not indicating something there.
Yeah.
It's not affirming anything.
Mm,
It's only not.
mm.
Not.
Yeah. So it's like space. No, it's just empty space. That's what you see. What you see when you see emptiness, what it looks like, it looks like empty space. It's nothing like, oh, there's like empty space plus elephant. It's not like that. It's just like when you come out of the meditative equipoise, and what you see, or you see all kind of things. You could see all kind of things. So not just like space. You just see all kind of things. How you see them like illusions. Not illusions, like illusions. You see them like illusions, not illusions. These are real, like illusion. You see them like illusions. So when you are in the meditative equipoise, what you see emptiness. What it looks like empty space. That's what it looks like. Okay, that's what I call. What do you say? Not elephant. Yeah, yeah. There's like specific term for that. Mega. That is emptiness. If you further investigate, no good. That is emptiness. That's called mega. Take up a mega. Mega. Free up inherent existence. That is what you call.
Non-affirming negation.
Yeah, non-farming or something like that. I think that's how they translate. I'm not sure. Probably they don't have it. If you're wondering, Bobby Dren Purdue, now he already passed away, so he wrote the books on this collective trophy called Duda. So maybe there you'll see, or maybe George Drivers, he probably wrote one book called Hand of Clap. Yes. Yeah, sound of two hand clap. So I don't know what that means, but that's the name of the book. I don't know what that means. No, maybe sound of the two hand clap of monkey. Maybe. Let me see if it's here. So maybe not. Oh, here. Yeah. Non-affirming, negative. This is the same as Tendula said. Mega means non-affirming, none. And there gives also some explanation. A negation, which when expressed in the word negate, is specific object of negations, but neither directly nor indirectly implies the existence of other. I would say there's no elephant but there's not non-affirming. There's no elephant, period. That is, yeah, non-affirming. So,
He said there's no elephant, but there's a zebra. It's an affirming negation of elephant, but not.
like That's called Lenji. Lenji is the name of the person, and kind of like big, physically. Lenji tsumbo nimo semi zawaso. Nimo semi zawaso. And how it become big, that clearly shows that even though they say, oh, I don't eat lunch, I don't eat dinner, but that's not true because something's happening, because that's why you are kind of big. That is like affirming negative.
Like that Devadatta does not eat at night.
Mm.
Implies he must eat sometime else.
So when I was doing like pilgrimage in Thailand long time ago, one of my friends from Singapore and Gichichuni, three of us, we are going around. Then my Singaporean friend has one, he has friend in Thailand, one couples. We are just going around the temple, different temples and stuff. All of a sudden, I'm kind of big, so Gichichuni is kind of slim, kind of tiny. The lady asked Gichichuni, how many meals do you eat? Gichichuni said, I eat 3 meals. Thailand, all the monks, they are supposed to not, they are like known as not eating after noon. So then she's asking why all our monks are there so big. So that is, I say, like affirming something must happen in the kitchen or in the room. Otherwise, you don't just get big. So, and I asked Gichun, what did you say? Gichun said, I didn't say anything. So, but Gichun is good monk. If she asks me, I will definitely say something. And now back to the topic. So the point here, why is important to recognize object that needs to be negated? In this case, superimpose self, exaggerated self. So that's the whole point here. According to Gadu Bodhisattva way of life, there's 2 lines. Which quoted. If you don't see the target, if you just shoot the arrow, you don't see the target, you're never going to hit on target because you don't see the target. So that's like that, you do have arrow, or maybe you do have wisdoms, but you are never going to hit on target because you don't see the target. Here, target is superimposed self, exaggerated self, okay? That's just an example. If you don't recognize thief, who is thief, if you don't recognize, then you may not be able to catch the thief. In order to catch the thief, you have to understand who is stealing. Therefore, it's very, very important to see the target, recognize the target, very, very important to have the realization of the target. Tell a Demba Majibin, Dembata, Rashi, Demba Majibin, Dembata, Rashi, Matuju, Rashin, Rangani, Miju, Rangani, Shibjabe, Devache. Shibjaba, like the text, like 400 stanza. This text is written by Aryadeva, Papala. So there's the commentary on this text. Commentary, I'm not sure, maybe, I don't know who wrote the commentaries. Which is quoting the commentaries. So commentary, this is short, I remember by heart because that is in the Lama Tsongkhapa text. He wrote the text called Refined Gold. Yeah, Essence of Refined Gold, which is 135 pages. So also Lama Tsongkhapa quoted there. So therefore I remember, because I memorized the text. I still remember that line. So tell a da che chawani. So da, what here now? The public question been raised. What is exaggerated self? What is exaggerated self? what is exaggerated self? Tell us that. So exaggerated self is Kashingubo de Shella Rama living over the Tenement Dame also. The self does not dependent on anything, not dependent on aggregate, not dependent on mind or combination of body and mind, not dependent on anything. So that's the exaggerated self. Okay. When you negate that, so then that's the emptiness. When you're able to negate that, first you have to recognize, then negate. Here's what Shinji Jena Ra Leba Mimba Ranguni Yoba Hamje. Ranguni Yoba inherent existence. Inherent means not dependent on anything, not dependent on cause and conditions. If it's like product, it's not dependent on cause and conditions. And if there's not the product, object is not the product, so there's not dependent on the part. Part and the east, west, south, not part, like that. Okay, Shinji. Jela Ra Leba Mimba Ranguni Yoba Ham, Shela Toba Meba, all not depending on anything. That includes the part, east, west, south, north. Toba Midi Rala Malangunji Tutubla says, What is the definition of inherent existence? Somebody's wondering how you define inherent existence. What is inherent existence? Inherent existence is not depending on anything, not depending on if there's a product, not depending on cause and conditions. If it's not the product, if it's not the impermanence, then it's not depending on any parts like that. So that is inherent existence. How you define inherent existence? Inherent existence means not depending on anything. So that's the inherent existence, okay? Dila tiki shem samjini chebe che parabi ka goja the room is nyongdo ni mangena. So here now Pabongara is saying, okay, when you go to the debate courtyard, so all this intellectual understanding will help you to win the debate. But that's another point here. That's another point. The point is to see emptiness. That's the point. Just intellectual understanding. When you read the word or you understand that is sake of debate is beneficial, but point is to understand emptiness. Okay. You can. If you don't understand, if you don't experience emptiness, so that means you don't understand the object of negations. But you say all the time. Also, I even probably how many times, probably couple hundred times, I recite this word, this line for many nights in a row. It's just a word, So if you don't recognize the object of negations, and it's just you say that in your mouth, but you don't recognize that. Pena kumani mios, if somebody say, thief is the human being, wearing white cloth. There's many human beings who wear white clothes. So how you find thief? If somebody say, thief is human being wearing white cloth, the same as like saying the word. That's pretty much same as like saying the word. But if you don't recognize, just saying like that, thief is human being wearing white cloth. That's not enough to catch the thief. The information is not enough to catch the thief. Similar, just saying the word, not thinking, just saying the word, you are not going to recognize the object of negation. So that's what I mean. Yeah.
can I ask you a question about that falling off the cliff
Mm.
that you talked about? You said, I think you said, if somebody's falling off the cliff,
When
they-
you about to fall off of cliff, fall off
off
cliff,
the cliff, yeah.
huh?
Yeah, fall off the cliff.
Fall off the cliff, yeah. Yeah.
And then you say, oh, I'm falling off the cliff.
Mm.
Then you are experiencing the I that is not dependent on the body and mind?
Yeah, so that time we don't say like, oh, my body is about to fall, my mind is about to fall.
Oh.
You say I, you know.
Because you're about to fall.
So at that time that you experience eyes, independent eyes, that
Right.
eye is not dependent on the body and mind.
that just
It was
seems
one occasion, huh?
it just seems kind of hard for me to figure out, because you're saying that because your body is falling off the cliff. So
No, you are not saying, we don't say, oh, my body is
no,
about to fall.
you're not saying my body, but the reason you say I'm falling off the cliff is because your body is falling off the cliff.
Yeah, at that time, that moment, we do experience the self, this independent self. That's what, that's what they say.
Huh.
I didn't make this up. That's what they say. So, um, mm. Yeah. So, then, tina shinji shepe kowa dan sik kowa tangse sik chi dan daji zam mimba che ne rangi longo nyamnyo jenja do ngesen ba gyoso tina shinji shepe kowa dan sik dan daji zam mimba so not just like say it's not enough just to understand the word and the meaning of the word. That's not good enough, so you have to really analyze. You have to analyze how I experience self. If somebody calls, oh, I'm so angry, I'm so angry because somebody just cut me up, I'm so angry. At that moment, if you analyze how you experience self, that self is totally independent self. So like that, so we need to analyze, do not just, oh, I understand emptiness means this, oh, this is not that good enough, not good enough. We need to analyze. So, rangi longo nyamnyu jenchara. Nyamnyu means experience, like raw experience, raw experience, raw experience. Say like. Yeah, so yeah, people who doesn't have butter tea, you can talk about butter tea, you can read about butter tea, but you don't have experience butter tea. You can talk about butter tea, you can talk about Tibet, but never been to Tibet, you can still talk about Tibet, but no experience, so it's not good enough. So of course you have to learn, but that's not enough, so we need to analyze, okay? Gaja mangena deme duji jigba mambushi tanya, so there are 5 renowned syllogism or reason, 5 renowned reasons, to help to understand emptiness. Or you can use the reason many times, multiple times. If you don't thoroughly analyze your experience, you will not get anywhere. That's very true, because monastery every day 6 or 7 hours you debate. You say this, you say this like more than a million times, back and forth. You say that your hand is kind of bleeding, or just clapping like all the time, then like that. Then when you debate, you're saying this word again and again. Of course, there will be some imprint in your mind stream, but that's about it. So doesn't mean you are going to see. But if you don't analyze, so what we need to analyze how I experience, When you are so happy, how you experience self. When you are so upset, how you experience self. If somebody calls you, how you experience yourself, Whenever we say I, we need to examine how we say, okay? Pena pumbe tani lobuzu shane, pumbe chu pumba means, pumbe sha pumba means, so chene pumbe chashi rene sabe tar, pumba manya ba sam toni dun kone gomgo chena, tongshi di tingdo gaja dinda shi go sebe, nami mebe je, pumbe tani shikne, chang meje tongba shorba tangja. tongshi di tingdo gaja dinda shi go sebe, nami mebe je, pumbe tani shikne, chang meje tongba shorba tang, chang meje tongba shorba tang. So for example, like, let's check just, pillar and the vase is very common example they've been used in the Buddhist, philosophical texts. So some region Tibetan people are very used to vase because we use vase all the time, all rituals, maybe pillar. So some reason they've been common, very frequently used in Tibetan philosophical texts. They didn't use books, they didn't use table, even though there are so many things, chairs. So we just take this example as a prayer wheel, just so anybody can see. So you can say, when you take the shape is not prayer wheel, the color is not prayer wheel. If you take apart, you can do that again and again. This Lama saying, do it again and again. But you may not able to see emptiness, or may come with the conclusion of nothingness. Nothingness. You separate all the parts, but then in the end you are saying same as a quantum physics, nothing exists. So then you are falling into one extreme view, nihilism. So you can do that, and you can separate all the parts, but that's not the meditation or emptiness. Meditation or that's not the meditation. Or you may end up seeing nothing. So that's probably not good. See emptiness. You have to see something. Something that's very profound. If you see nothing, so then there's nihilism. Pumbe tani shinya changmeje tongpa shirwa. Changmeje tongpa shirwa means changmeje tongpa means like nothingness. Nothingness. Changmeje tongpa means nothingness. Lechuji tongbe kosa cheza. Tena rangre gaja tsowa na nganzu lenji nga rangshi ji tuba zinzu tse chogo. Then how to analyze? Because you say we, everybody has that, or I'm hungry, or I have to go, or I'm not happy, I'm so happy, or I didn't do a good job, I did this, I did that, there's all the time, there's we say, I. So we need to analyze. Each time when we say I, analyze. So it means body, or means mind. Need to analyze how you experience. Tina rare gaja tsowa na nganzu lenjes like. We don't have to meditate just to think I. So we say all the time. Say nganzu lenjes is like. We don't have to read some like a tenet to say I. We don't have to go into deep into meditation just to say I. We say I all the time. All living beings that have this. I say lenje means without effort. Without effort, it just automatically it just come. It don't require any effort. It just comes. Or lenje. So that and that. How you experience self. So need to analyze that. So we need to analyze how I'm experiencing self now. We need to start to analyze. Pungbe ten na je. Simji takba za mimba pungbe chobe ten su chuba tabi ngao nyamba shik. Pungbe tena means on the aggregate. It's not like that's not how we experience self, or that's level on aggregate. That's not how we experience self. No, that's not how we experience. But that's the reality. That's what is level level on the aggregate and mind, combination of aggregate and mind. That's what you call joy or gishigelek. But that's not how we experience. So when you analyze, meaning you try to analyze. Pungbu tena simji taban the members. Pungbu chobe tini sutuba tabu ngao nyambashi. Pungbu that the self that we experience is not like, oh, there's self, there's no level on aggregate and mind. That's not how we experience. We experience like independent, or maybe sobeting chutubata, or maybe it's like inherently coming from body and mind. Inherently coming from body and mind. We don't experience, oh, the self is level on body and mind. That's not how we experience. When you start to analyze, when you start to analyze, and we experience self that's like inherent or independent from body and mind. Sobedine sutuba tabu, nyamshik, thana, trobur, every living beings. Milam Sunja, not just while you're awake, even the dream. That's how we experience self. So that is called Nganzul Henje. So that is Nganzul Henje is the cause of that. Not sure. That is like how the nature self-grasping mind. How is the natural self-grasping mind. Why is it called natural? We don't have to meditate to think about self, or you don't have to read like complicated philosophical texts just to get idea of self. No, everybody, even the animals, everybody has this idea of self. There's like natural has a self-grasping mind. Everybody has that. So that's so that natural self-grasping mind, how like natural self-grasping mind that's grabbing very tight on self, and that self needs to be analyzed. That self, according to the Papunga Rinpoche book, Lamnim here, we experience that self independent from aggregated mind. Not like, oh, self that's level on aggregate and mind. That's not how we experience self, naturally. Natural self-grasping mind. China shi kansa ke tindu nga shi zumbi sulu sumle so. So there can be, experience of self. There can be 3 different types of experience of self. Experience, that's a good word to use. Experience of self. We experience the experience of self. There's not always, like something independent. This is very important to understand. 3 different types of, 3 different ways to experience self, or we experience self in 3 different ways. Okay, so that's important to understand. Toni ji tawa jula chebe kansan namji so. So the beings who possess, wisdom, realizing emptiness, that means beings who saw emptiness, they still say I, because they still say, oh, I'm happy, I'm eating, I have no time. They say that they say same, they're still person. Toni je tawa jula chebe kansan namji dashi tingdo tobe tak sam tangje. They made you chapel to so whenever they say I, because of the realization of wisdom realizing emptiness, because that, so they, the way they experience self is like mere self, merely labeled self. That's how they experience merely labeled self. They don't experience independent self. They experience merely labeled self, merely labeled on aggregated mind. That's how they experience, because they train their mind, so they already recognize, natural grasping minds, how that mind experience self, so they already negated that. So now, each time when they says I, so that means merely label I. That's what they experience. Okay, being person who see emptiness. Okay, tobe tazo damage ngazum bachik. Either is like merely label self, or like how is it self that's like free from inherent existence. Self free from inherent existence, or merely label self. There's two ways they experience self. Person who see emptiness, okay, or they just experience a merely label self on aggregate, or they experience self is empty of inherent existence. That's how they experience self. That today ju malebe sojinams. Someone who does not have any idea about emptiness, any idea about never studied tenet, tenet, or never, they don't have any idea of selflessness, so means like no education at all, no education at all about emptiness. Today ju malebe sojinams, the normal people or normal beings. 진짜 다 rangi tumor 관계제 잡아도 맞제베 나도 찍세요. It's very interesting here. Like today, you Malebe soje namji nganjudar, soje namji nganjudar. rangi tumor 관계제 잡아도 맞제베 나도 They don't experience inherent self, or they don't experience the self that's free from independent existence. There's two: inherent existence self, or free from. So they just experience self. They just experience self, because they have no idea. So, what's the example? There should be more. There should be some example. Any example? So all the Westerners in Tibetan community call Inji. Inji means English, but Tibetan people have no idea. English is from British. So whenever they say blonde hair, they just call Inji, English. They call English. Not able to distinguish American, European, the British, or Australian, or not able to distinguish. They just, so maybe that's not good example. Maybe some example. You have example?
For taste, something you haven't tasted and you don't know exists. I didn't know umami. Umami was a taste. There's sour, sweet, etc. And there's one called umami. I think that's the name. It's mainly Japanese kind of food would have that, and I had no idea that existed. So my taste didn't know whether I had umami or didn't have umami. I didn't know it was there.
So what do you think about that? Like a person who has no idea about, any education about emptiness, or like inherent existence, empty of inherent existence, none of that, not understand. So that person's experience just self. just self. No, just self. You understand that? Huh? Yeah.
Yes,
So we do experience just self. So after when we study emptiness, still we experience. This is generally speaking. Generally speaking, it's not definite. Generally speaking, generally speaking, three different way of experiencing self. Generally speaking, so it's very hard to distinguish, because if you see emptiness, it's easy to distinguish. If you don't see emptiness, it's very hard to distinguish. When I experience just self, not mere self, just self, not the mere self, mere level self. That requires deeper understanding of emptiness. So otherwise, you are not going to see the mere level self. Before you negate what? Yeah, before you negate the object of refutations, there's no way you can see mere level self. But we do experience just self. But it's very much, it's very hard to distinguish, or like inherent self, or independent self, or just self. It's very hard to distinguish. But we do experience hard to distinguish.
Geshe-la, would the normal view of self be something like we each are the middle of the universe? We each think of ourselves as everything revolving around us, everything happens to us. We view everything from our own view instead of being able to view ourselves from above as a set of causes and conditions. It's like we are the middle of our universe, like a baby who doesn't understand that there are others, like, because we are a complete self, and everything that happens is because happening to us, or we are causing to happen.
So like, because all of us, we experience self, but if somebody asks you how you experience self, it's hard to explain. Because we experience not just or like only Sunday, the rest of the day, we don't experience, not like that. Every single moment we experience self. But if somebody asks you, explain how you experience. Probably you may not say, oh, I experience inherent existent self. You may not say that, but that's how you experience. But we may not say that, then like it's very something that you experience, you can explain. It's very like hard. So anyway, so let me finish the first point here. So if you don't understand, please raise your hand, so then I will explain again. So now today you malebe soje namji nganzu da raji tumakani chaba majibe chikche. So the person who does not have any educations about emptiness, they experience just self. There's a big difference between just self and merely level self. There's a big difference. Just self means not inherent self, not the self that's empty, but inherent just self, which exists. Otherwise, who's going to create the karma? There will be no who's going to create merit, and who's going to see emptiness. The first one, merely level self. If you see emptiness, that's merely level self, or self that's free of independent existence. True way of experiencing self. Person who sees emptiness, or just self. Third way to experience self. The Ranshi to be chapel ngazumbachi sumya sumja, or maybe like experiencing inherent self. Pretty much all beings, who don't see emptiness experience inherent independent self. Okay, so you count the person who see emptiness. Where they experience, that's the one. Where they experience self, merely level, or self that's free from inherent existence. That's how they experience self. Now the second way is like people who has no education about emptiness at all. They don't experience inherent self, or they don't experience self that's empty of inherence. They say just self. So now the third one here is inherent self. That covers pretty much all beings who don't see emptiness. I don't know how to explain. Yeah, there is difference. There's obviously there's big difference, but no. No. That moment, not like generally speaking. Generally speaking, that person probably do all the time, but occasionally, all the time. But like you experience, like that's very good question. So like that's why I'm saying it's very interesting. Like we also experience just self. When? No, not all the time. That's for the congratulation.
Are you saying that just self is different from inherently existent self because the person who's experiencing inherently existent self is aware that they're experiencing that, but just self is the same as inherently existing self, right?
No, inherently existent self doesn't exist.
Yeah, but you're saying that people experience either self or inherently existent self,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Inshallah.
Yeah, I'm listening.
It's like a trick.
I'm not. It's not trick.
Okay.
It's
so-
provocative what you said. I'm not tricking you.
all right, but inherently existent self doesn't exist, right?
Does not
But
exist.
it's what we think of when we think of ourself.
Mm. That's
It's what we think of when we think of just self.
So that's hard because I don't know when we experience just self. Most of the time, the self that we experience like inherent self.
Okay, but these uneducated people experience just self.
Not all the time.
Okay, when is the time that they experience just self?
Well, that's a good question. I don't.
Oh.
I don't have answer.
That's a trick.
It's not trick, Steve. Or only Christmas Day.
On Christmas Day. But it just seems like
No, no,
okay, this is maybe
I
my
have no answer.
misunderstanding. It
Huh?
seems like what I've been learning all this time is that unless I
Then now you explain to us
okay
when you experience inherent self or when you experience just self. When?
well, now this is news to me, so I really have to think about this. But I thought that
Yeah, we have to
I thought-
analyze, that's
I
why.
thought that 99.9% of the time, I am experiencing myself as inherently existent. I just because of habit, I see myself in ways that are not empty. So I'm seeing myself in ways that I mistakenly see as inherently existent.
Yeah, that's I can't say because I cannot say you see emptiness or you don't
No,
see
I can
emptiness.
tell you. huh?
Yeah, so yeah, I will leave that up to you. So then,
So my understanding was that almost all the time, I am seeing myself as inherently existent. I'm seeing myself in this incorrect way. So if there's also a time that I'm seeing myself as just self,
when?
that's
Christmas
what I'm trying
Day.
to figure out. Like maybe when I'm falling asleep.
So
or
because
something.
Steve, like you experience, I experience, we all experience. If you ask question, I don't know. Like when, I don't know.
No, but I'm just trying to figure out what's the difference between seeing myself as inherently existent and seeing myself as just self.
Yeah, please you ask Lama Tsonga about in your dream. Lama Tsonga about in your dream.
I won't
Like
read it today.
to make lucid dream.
Oh, when I
dream.
have a lucid dream, that's what I'm seeing just
No,
self?
no, lucid dream. Then see Lama Tsonga about then ask. See, this is very tough question. So I don't have answer. Do I experience?
Yeah.
I do experience. You experience. I don't know when.
There just must be some definition somewhere that will help me. I'll find it.
See, see now that's why we need to analyze. Do we experience self very strongly all the time? No. Do we experience self all the time very strongly? No. We have ups, down, the middle. We experience self. When you get so angry like that, that moment, that experience self is very strong. When we get so happy, then experience of self so strong. When life is like normal, so then we do experience, I have to eat. Maybe that time probably you are experiencing just self. If somebody if somebody screaming at you, yelling at you, then you say, how dare that you are calling my name? At that moment, it's very strong experience self. We don't analyze. More likely, you are not experiencing just self. You are experiencing inherent self. But what is it? Normal day, neutral day, not really happy, not really sad. Kind of like between, not very high, not very down, between. Just say I'm going to sleep and that like that. Probably experience. I'm just making this up. So I'm not. I don't know what I'm saying.
That's very helpful.
Huh?
That's extremely helpful. Thank you.
So that's very tough question. That's very tough question. So yeah, I am upset because somebody did something. So like say where's Gishambo went? So now it's time to cook some lunch because there's no lunch. I'm kind of upset. I'm doing my prayer. So where he's like that time you experience self kind of upset, inherent self. So like your belly is full. Lunch has been cooked, all served. So then you finish your prayer and you just spacing out or maybe doing nothing. So that's probably well, maybe like when we have not strong emotionals. So probably we do experience just self. So when we get very emotional, unless you see emptiness, then you experience mere level self, or self that's empty of inherent existence. Other than that, then you experience inherent self that's totally independent from body and mind. Controller, you want to say something? Oh, you're going to chant?
No.
Uh,
My merely labeled chanting, Geshe-la.
didn't
Just, I don't know if I wrote this down correctly. When you said just self, you said it is neither the inherent self, the inherently existing, nor the self
that's
empty of
inherent
inherent existence.
That's right.
Okay, that's all. I just want to make sure I had written that down correctly.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
good. Just self, there's a difference between just self and mere level self.
Geshe-la?
Huh?
So I'm thinking that for this person who doesn't have any education about emptiness, they do experience inherent self when they fall off a cliff, but they don't have the concept in their mind to be able to express that. So, because we all experience independent self until we
So
get wisdom realizing
that
emptiness.
person who has no educated in any philosophical text also experience, the independent
independent self.
But
they just don't have a way of recognizing, because they don't have the education, they're not able to say, oh, I'm experiencing the independent self because they haven't been exposed to that concept.
Yeah, they don't have understanding of the object of object of reputations. They don't have any of that, but that doesn't mean they never experience inherent existence. Everybody experience inherent existence till you see emptiness.
Okay, thank you. That helps a lot.
Yeah. So this is like even the monastery, they debate on this particular line. So like person who has not been educated in any philosophical text, how they experience just self, and don't they experience? Then there's a lot of headache, a lot of headache. That goes back and forth. Probably don't reach any conclusion at all. You just debate over it. So then again tomorrow. So. So now the answer is like,
Geshe-la,
oh,
When you say just self, would that also be different than exaggerated self?
Yeah, that's different. The just self
So
means neither empty of inherent existent self or nor like inherent self. It's just self, which
Right.
exists, which create karma, which goes
Right.
life after life. That's self. Mm.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So so see, it's interesting when you start to analyze. When you start to analyze, then your understanding will get bigger, better and better, and clear. So till then, you can say, as Lama Pavongaram said, you can say this word 100,000 times, but you can say somebody who does not even sow incense writes a books about incense, never saw incense and writes big book about incense, So she has a lot of talk, give a lot of talks on the incense. But if you ask, did you ever saw incense? No, like something like that. We can write, we can say about emptiness, but if you ask somebody, do you saw emptiness? Probably no. So like me. So now there's, generally speaking, there's three different ways of experiencing self, right? One, that person who see emptiness. How they experience self, merely label self, or self that's free of independent existence. Or person who doesn't have any never been educated in the philosophical text or tenet. Generally speaking, not all the time, generally speaking, they experience just self. So then other hand, so then everybody pretty much cover, everybody who don't see emptiness, experience the inherent self. These are three ways of experience self. But as I said, the second one, when you debate in the monastery, it's caused a lot of headache. Then same now here, other hand, same, it might help impermanent, permanent. Or sometimes when we see the prayer wheel, we see impermanent prayer wheel. Sometimes we see permanent prayer wheel. Oh, it's been there last month, it's still there, but it's changed moment by moment. It changed, constantly changing, but we don't see. That's subtly impermanent. Or sometimes we just see just prayer wheel. We don't see necessarily see impermanent prayer wheel or permanent prayer wheel. It's just prayer wheel. Or maybe like kids, little kids here, when they come, they just see prayer wheel. They have no idea what impermanent, permanent. So that doesn't mean they see that all the time. Or sometimes you look at the prayer wheel with the understanding of impermanent, then you see impermanent prayer wheel. But there's different. Seeing prayer wheel is an impermanent or impermanent prayer wheel. That's two different things. Seeing prayer wheel as conventional truth and the conventional truth prayer wheel, that's two different things. You see conventional prayer wheel, conventional truth prayer wheel, because prayer wheel is conventional truth. That's why you if you see our prayer wheel as a conventional truth, then you have to see prayer wheel is like illusions. Then you're probably supposed to see emptiness. See? It's just truth. In my perception, it's just truth. That's it. But it's not truth. It's like illusions. Like that. So in order to see prayer wheel as a conventional truth, then you will say, oh, this is only truth in my perception, but then you say, but it is like illusions. So then you saw prayer wheel is a conventional truth. We see, whenever you see prayer wheel, you see the impermanent prayer wheel. Why? Because prayer wheel is impermanent. Like that. Okay, so that's the same idea. Oh, now time is over, so maybe the. So this is very important. So very important. So because looks like you are interested, you have interest about emptiness. So very important to learn. That's how you explain to other people who have interest in emptiness. And when you meditate, it will help first point analysis. This is identifying the object of refutation. Huh? Refutation? Refutation. Oh, sumyobali niba sumyobali niba ti tanyajuba lo tsamaisa niba tanyajuba lo tsamaisa. Second, we are experiencing self. That's just self. That is valid. That self do exist. Otherwise, who create merit? Who's meditating on emptiness? Self has to that lo tsama means valid cognizer. Di using ngatam te tanyadeus. That self is conventionally exist. That self is not superimposed. Lineage the base of all the karmas. The base of all the karmas. Sumba ti nyembo jumju tushinga sumba tes. The last way of experiencing self. So that self has to be negated. That self is object of negations. That self has to be negated. Sumba ti nyembo jumjus. Nyembo, what's the antidote? Antidote is the wisdom of emptiness. Jumju tushinga. That is mistaken concept of self, mistaken that the perception of self, that particular perception of self is mistaken. Oh, Lenji the number you Rebecca. So that object is the object of negations. Oh yeah. Lenji nangzu ti jesu tane ngese nyumatobe ngashima so. Then like with that kind of like Lenji nangzu ti jesu tane. Oh, and with that with that I'm so angry. Then you say I'm going to say this that everything that you does pretty much doing that, following the inherent the mistake in your mind. So when you're so upset, then you scream, then you yell, then you say all kind of things. Pretty much all this driven by that mistaken mind. The mind that grasping so tightly on self that doesn't exist. And everything's been said is based on that. If you destroy that, all of that will not come out. See? All kind of emotion. Whatever you say, oh, like I did this, I didn't, then whatever. Then after that, so then that happens. I'm going to eat. I'm going to not going to eat. Or that food is not good. Whatever. There's so many things that you say when you're very upset. All of that is pretty much produced by that mistaken, basically self-grasping mind. Self-grasping mind, natural self-grasping mind, causing all this, activities, a body, speech, mind. Mata majebe le ta ngatam de simba chine ngandro. Mata majebe ngadoje donde chawa chebate minjata yotam la chaje tipsuinsa. Lenje la ngai nangzu cho chitsamji tanya jubi longo la. Oh yeah, so maybe I'll stop now. Time is over. Maybe everybody's looking for Friday night relaxations. Everybody's looking for Friday night relaxations. So almost finished the first point. So there's not much material to cover. So I don't want to leave any word here, so I just want to read every single word. This is very important, because you are showing interest, about emptiness. So I may create some merit explaining that. So probably that merit will probably help me to see emptiness maybe in the Pardo state. So that's why, when you do six-action Guru Yoga, it covers thinking about emptiness because it's already there, in the textbook. So it's a part of the, commitment. Yeah. So yeah.
Essential Buddhist Prayers book, turn to page 235.
Nyo no no la ma la ne no jo do wa ji yam mam ga ba sem jo rembo che ma che pa nam che che ba nyam ba me ba yo go ne go no me ba che da che ba da kun do som bo de te da kun jin jin la da lo je ge wa de da nam je Jawa tam jen je, ngo wa kan la cho do nga ma. Da jen ge we za wan de gun ja, zang bo jen je.
Then turn to 244 and 245 for the short, long life prayers.
Ko we shin ngam de, pen dan de wa man. Che re ze wan den zen jan zo ye, sha be se ne man do ne nyu. Onjo de awa da re zen ba rab se ba, lo za ja we den do le be, sha se jin jo la ma so wa de. Sha se nyam ge nya we, ten ze nyam be, on lo la ma de. Cho zong go le me don do, an da zong do je gu do ya. Da re do re so ha om da re so do re so ha om da re do re om da re do re om da re do re. Yeah, thank you. Wonderful, very good. Yeah. So, Donasi, maybe Sunday ask people to